Okay, welcome back, Tim. So we're moving on with the ball. So now that we have the web application deployed, next thing that we're going to look at is deploying the student portal app, right? And then we're going to deploy that manually and install some dependencies that are going to be required for this to work well. Okay, so Cookbook is again here with step-by-step. So I want to mention a few things. One of the things is that step number 2 has a zip folder that contains the code to the application. That contains what? The code to the application. And the code, you might be asking, well, if I'm by myself, how do I get the code? Now, the code of this application, I developed it, or I just inquired it, or I just asked ChatGPT to create an application for me, and it gave me the whole code. You can do that the same way you can ask ChatGPT if you have a subscription to create you any type of application, and you'll go ahead and do that. Cool. Okay, so going to the Azure portal, and we are going to now do the process, right, of uploading the zip folder. So you can double click on the zip folder or from our website or from this cookbook, and it will be able to download it, and then you can unzip it from your phone, from your local computer, and then you'll be able to use it. Okay. So for this, we're going to use something called the Cloud Shell. The what? The Cloud Shell. The what? The Cloud Shell. Now, what is the Cloud Shell? So when you look into your Azure portal, once you log in, portal.azure.com, there is next to the Copilot banner here, or next to the notification icon here, there is the bash. Okay, I'm going to close this one. There is the CLI. This is called the Azure CLI, Cloud Shell. What? Azure CLI, command line terminal. Okay. So when you open it, sometimes when you're opening it for the first time, it will ask you to select the subscription, and then you're gonna select the subscription, and then you just click on apply to activate it. I think I'll do another short video to show you how to do that. But again, you can use ChatGPT to help you out quickly if you don't get to do that. So it's easy peasy. So once you click on there, we want to make sure that we are in Bash, not PowerShell. So if you don't notice that here it says switch to PowerShell, it should say, if it says switch to Bash, then you want to click there. Okay. So what are we going to do? We are going to upload our application using this button that says manage files. We're going to what? To upload the application code that you just downloaded using this manage files. So if you click on manage files, there's the upload button. You click on the upload button, and then you can open your zip folder. All right, but first of all, you want to make sure that it's extracted. Okay, sorry. You can open your zip folder as it is, right? Let's do it as it is, not to extract it. And then you click on open, and notice that it will say that it has been uploaded. That has been what? That has been uploaded. Okay, so now once it's uploaded, now on the steps on the cookbook, I'll move it back here just to show you. There is the commands, right? The commands that you don't need to think about it. Just make sure just make sure that you enter exactly as the command says here, right? So we're going to copy exactly the commands, and then we're just going to go ahead and paste the way they are. All right, so this is to flatten our code. Easy peasy. So forgive me, I skipped something. So step number 1, variables. So we want to copy the variables first before we go to the next command. So copy the variables. Copy what? The variables. So the variables is what you copy, and then you paste in your Azure CLI bash. You click on enter. Make sure to click on enter. Okay, you don't just paste. You could click on enter once you paste. Cool. Now you go back to the cookbook. Okay, and you don't need to be a coder for this. And all of this, again, I got from AI, Copilot, or ChatGPT. Everything is there for you. That's why it's very interesting to do this stuff now. Now you copy on this step number 3. Just copy everything. Control C, and then again you paste in your bash, right? And then you hit enter. It's easy peasy, nothing complex. What? Nothing complex. Okay, so once you do that, you go to the next step, which is that now you are configuring the Node version, right? The Node version of the application. So I'm gonna copy this, just Control C, and I go back and make sure that when you do the variables, you change the name of the app to exactly indicate the name that you have chosen to use. Otherwise, it's not gonna work well. Okay, right? So you see it runs. So what I mean is, on the variables, it says what is your RG. So you might have the different resource group than me. App name, you might have a different app name than me. The zip folder, you might have renamed this to something else. So just make sure that your variables are reflecting the correct names that you have. Okay, but if you use the same things, then that will work for you. Cool. So after we've done step number 4, now we go to step number 5, where we are now deploying the zip fold or the zip code into the actual application, right? So you just copy that and you go back and then you control, you paste that same way, easy peasy, right? Nothing complex. Make sure to hit enter. So it will now start deploying the code into your application, and we're just gonna wait a little bit for it to finish. Okay, so as soon as the build is successful, then it's going to try to attempt to start the site, okay? But it's never going to start because we need something called NPM installed on it. So what are we going to do? So what we are going to do is easy peasy. You're now just going to minimize here. To what? To minimize. And then you go to the application. How do you go to the application? Again, the search bar, so App Service, right? It really helps if you can spell things correctly. So App Services. To go to our application. So if I see my application, I'm going to double click on it. And what we're doing here is not complex. We're just going to stop it. Click on stop, click on yes. And once it's stopped, you're going to click on start back again so that it saves the code that we have. Okay, and now it just stopped. So what are we going to do next? So the thing that we're going to do next, according to our steps, is if you look on the left-hand side menu. So everything is overview when you open it in Azure. But when you look at the left-hand side menu, you can scroll all the way down and find things. And it's my recommendation that you keep the drop down closed. Why? Because it will simplify things. It won't intimidate you. So what are we looking for? What we're looking for is to log into something called Kudu. What? Kudu. So Kudu is something that allows us to go into the backend. Remember, this is a Linux app service. So the Linux App Service backend, where we get to interact with the actual machine, is where we find in Kudu. It's under Development Tools, and you go to Advanced Tools, and then you click on Go. Easy peasy. Now, this used to be the old interface, but I know that it's going to change. So let's just go ahead to the new interface. So click on Try Now. And if you go to here, you can see it says Kudu here, right? So what we want to log into is the SSH Kudu. So you just double click on here, and then it will open up the SSH Kudu, and it's connected. Now, from the Cookbook side, you can see that we do have the commands to install the NPM dependencies for our application to run. So copy this, and that's all you do. Control C, Control V, and you hit enter. Okay, so this process will take a little bit of time, so we're going to wait, but it's going to install all the modules that are required for your application to run without issues. What? The front-end application. It has finished installing, as you can see. So if it cuts you out while it's installing, like maybe it restarts or something, you would need to reinstall everything. All right, so just reinstall everything. But in my case, it has installed everything, so we catch up in the next video.